you will notice a different lady sitting here in the studio. That is Miss Amy Goodson, sports dietitian for the Sports Nutrition Game Plan. Miss Amy, how are you?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, we're excited to have you. So obviously, sports dietitian, you are the lady with the plan when it comes to high school athletes and how they need to balance their nutrition, because we talk a lot of football on this show. They're high school boys. That is difficult to get into their mind that maybe the junk food isn't the best option.
Yes.
We'll start off with that. Obviously, they're called student athletes for a reason. They've got to balance school. They have to balance nutrition, the workouts, the practices, the games, everything like that. What's your biggest tip when it comes to balancing nutrition as much as they're balancing schoolwork, practice, all the rest of it?
Have to have a game plan. So just like you have a game plan in football, right? You don't just go into a game not prepared, not looking at what the other team's doing, not having your plays in place. Same thing with nutrition. You've got to have a game plan for what your week looks like. I have worked Pee Wee to Pro in football and in sports nutrition, and the younger athletes really have some of the bigger challenges because, to your point, they have to go to school. They might have tutoring. They might have other extracurricular activities, plus practice, plus lifting, all the different things. And so what I really encourage young athletes to do in that high school space is to say, okay, let's look at your week and let's see, like, what's the scoop? Does practice, when are you practicing? When are you going to be lifting? What does that look like? And how can we strategize and plan a game plan for fueling? So more of a fueling plan of a game plan, and looking at, okay, you're going to be gone all day for 12 hours. Mm-hmm. We're going to need some snacks, because oftentimes one of the biggest challenges that I see with these younger athletes is they're under fueled, and they'll tell me, I feel fine. And I'm like, I'm just arguing you might feel better.
Yes.
And really trying to dial in on creating a plan. And I am not one that likes to cook, so you don't really have to be in the kitchen hours, but it's like having those snacks, having those go-to items so that we can keep these athletes well-fueled, well-hydrated, so that they have the energy that they need, whether they're on the field, in the weight room, or in the classroom, which is also key.
I want to get to hydration in a minute here. That is another key factor in all of this. I want to go back to a second ago when you were talking about snacks being a huge portion of this. Can you give any parent watching, any student watching, some of an idea of kind of what do those snacks look like that you would recommend, and how often? What's the frequency that you're looking to digest those?
So I am a big believer that snacks are the glue that holds the whole sports nutrition puzzle together. It's not enough for an athlete to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They've got to get the in-between fueling. And so the goal is really to have a carbohydrate and a protein. Okay. When you put those two things together, it helps stabilize your blood sugar, and that's important because that is going to stabilize your energy levels. And so if your blood sugar is all over the place, your energy is often all over the place, which is where we see athletes and parents high energy, low energy, high energy, low. So really dialing in on having these nutrient-rich snacks that are going to provide energy. So carb protein, that could be granola bar, beef jerky. That could be banana, one of the little peanut butter to-go cups. Bag of trail mix that might have nuts, dried fruit, granola in them. Things like that they can just throw in their bag. And so it doesn't matter if it has to be hot or cold, because let's face it, most male athletes during the day, we do not need to send them to school with a refrigerated snack that still needs to be cold at 3 p.m. Like, bad plan. So thinking through what are those things that it's okay if it gets hot, it's okay if it maybe got stepped on in their bag. So thinking through, like I said, the beef jerky, the granola bars, protein bars. I am a lover of the energy bite that parents can make at home. Oats, honey, peanut butter, protein powder, sprinkle in your favorite. Great balanced snack, going to give them energy to help fuel their day. Simple, easy to eat, and on the go.
I can promise you one thing. When I was a student athlete, my mom never had to twist my arm to eat beef jerky. I would like to self-proclaim the biggest beef jerky fan on the entire planet.
I travel all the time, and that is forever in my bag. I've been stranded on a lot of tarmacs with beef jerky and nuts, and I'm like, thanks.
And as long as you have that, then we're good. I'm chilling.
And for male athletes, like, it's good protein, and it's salty, which I know in the world of normal nutrition, people go salt, but in the sports nutrition world, we're all about salt. And so that makes it a really good solution for protein, 10 essential nutrients, plus getting that sodium in.
Well, and salt, you say that, and it's like, how do you balance that out? Hydration being a huge key factor there. I know that you hear coaches all the time, drink water. You have to drink water. I think there's a lot of other forms of hydration that you can get too. What are some of your, what challenges do you notice with maybe teenagers specifically not staying hydrated enough, and what tips would you have for them to make sure that those levels are being where they need to? We don't want cramps.
Exactly. So first, let's start with just a 2% dehydration level in the body can equate to about a 10% decrease in performance.
Wow.
As dehydration gets worse, performance typically declines. Typically, almost more than any other sport, football sweats a lot. They got a lot of gear on, and they're usually big dudes moving a lot.
And we're in Texas.
It's hot. And so that's a huge challenge. And so one of my things when I talk to athletes is I'm like, hydration is something you can control, at least going into those practices, into those games. So we want athletes to think about, how can I monitor my hydration? So first things first, I always tell them, look at the color of your urine. It's an old school way to figure out your hydration, but it costs nothing. It takes no one's help, and you can do it any time of the day. Yet really aiming for that pale yellow to clear. Congratulations, you're probably hydrated. Apple juice and darker, no good. You need to drink something. So drinking consistently throughout the day, to your point, it can be water, it can be sports drink, it can be milk, chocolate milk, smoothie, protein shake. All of these things are going to be contributing to overall hydration. So for most athletes, like general hydration, I'd say take your weight, divide it in half, and drink that many ounces. So if you weigh 200 pounds, let's go easy math.
Right.
Okay, 100 ounces, and then add about 5 to 10 ounces of fluid every 20 minutes, or a bottle an hour. If it's if it's a short workout, you can probably get away with water. This time of year, it's hot. So typically I'm going to be recommend either adding electrolytes to that water, the sodium, potassium, just to help with obviously preventing cramping, helping the athlete drink more. But sports drinks are also a great solution because they also have carbohydrate, and carbohydrate is going to be that quick fuel that's going to help them get through that workout, through that game. So again, like a bottle-ish an hour. And then on the reverse side, looking at how dehydrated am I after a game, after a practice. And so typically most, even high school athletes football players will weigh themselves pre-post. So 16 to 20 ounces per pound lost. So if you lost 3 pounds, you probably need 3 bottles of fluid. So easy way to kind of think about it. Hydration is essential, and it can cause a lot of problems if you're dehydrated. Fairly easy thing to stay on top of if you'll stay on top of it.
We're talking with Amy Goodson, sports dietitian for the Sports Nutrition Game Plan. Amy, I have a couple more questions before we let you go here. First of which being, there's just a plethora of information when it comes to this kind of stuff out there. Some very good, some not as good. As a parent, I am not one yet, but I can only imagine when you're trying to do the best thing for your child that you're taking in as much as you can. What are your tips for parents that are trying to preach to the choir that, hey, your nutrition is important, not just for high school athletes, but for the rest of your life, honestly? Where would you suggest they go? How do you kind of weed out what information might not be the best?
Yeah, I always like to say people are well informed with misinformation.
Yes.
And so looking at what the average celebrity or athlete is doing, probably not the best. So I am always going to tell parents, look to a nutrition expert when it comes to nutrition. So a sports dietitian, a registered dietitian, we go to a lot of school.
Yes.
And a lot of stuff to become and take a board exam to become a registered dietitian, because you don't think about it, but you have athletes that have diabetes. You have athletes that have other health issues that we need to be really focusing in on. So looking for a sports dietitian is going to be key. So RD or registered dietitian after someone's name. A lot of us have tons of resources. Like I have a free podcast, the Sports Nutrition Playbook. We have a YouTube channel. We have free, Instagram. So we're trying to put out good information. And, when it comes to parents, there's a lot of things that make people go, ooh, that looks so appealing. Ooh, should we try that? It's really about the basics.
Right.
Your kids need to be eating consistently, starting with breakfast over the course of the day. We talked about snacks. Fuel early, fuel often, eating consistently, hydrating. It's the basics done well that can really add up to success. If you've ever heard of the compound effect, small things done consistently over and over and over again can add up. The reverse is true as well. Small bad things done consistently can lead to bad habits, and that sets athletes up to not have enough energy, be underfueled, which potentially is going to contribute to decreased performance, decreased recovery, which no parent wants for their kid.
Absolutely. Sometimes the classics hit. You got to play the classics.
I'm like, it's the basics that everyone's missing out on. If you would stick to the basics, you'd be surprised how well they work. Basics are often boring to people, but they work.
Absolutely. Before we let you go, you mentioned it a little bit. You've got the podcast. Obviously, there's a sports nutrition game plan, the playbook, all that kind of stuff. Go ahead and one more time, we want to give you the opportunity to tell all the viewers where they can find very trusted information on the basics and everything that you have to offer.
Yeah, so the sports nutrition game plan is actually a free high school sports nutrition program that I created in combination with the Texas Beef Council. So this is this is a program that schools can use. They simply go to sportsnutritiongameplan.com and they can sign up for the program. It's got videos, fact sheets, meal plans, anything that a high school would need to really help educate their kids. It's a free resource. Use free resources. And then my business, the Sports Nutrition Playbook, we do one-on-one counseling, which really excited. We've just started taking insurance for sports nutrition services.
Congratulations. That's
94% of people can see a registered dietitian for free or a very reduced cost.
Wow.
Unbelievable. So the sportsnutritionplaybook.com, and you can fill out our insurance verification form, but it's a way, one of my big goals as a dietitian is to expand access to sports nutrition to a lot of the athletes that are training just as hard, yet don't have access. So this is a phenomenal way to do that. And so going to our website, looking at that, if your athlete needs one-on-one counseling for, they have questions about supplements, questions about weight gain, questions about performance, that's the key. And then yes, the Sports Nutrition Playbook is my business. We have a podcast, we have a YouTube channel, we have an Instagram account. You can find it all under that, trying to put out good information to help educate athletes and parents so that they're able to help keep their kids well fueled. I always like to say that nutrition does not fix everything, but it can help a lot of things. And when we talk about it from a performance and recovery standpoint, it's the cheat code, and most high school athletes aren't doing it.
Well, I think I'm going to check out the sports nutrition playbook for my own personal use as a washed up athlete. I think that it can help everyone.
Yeah, and parents, we see more than just athletes. Parents will be like, "Do you see normal people?"
Exactly.
Like, yes, we see normal people.
It is me. Hi, normal. Yeah. Well, normal-ish person.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, we're just trying to expand access, help athletes perform at their best, and at higher levels, college, professional sports. I've worked in all of those. They have access. At some of the younger levels, they don't. So that's our goal: provide sports nutrition access to all athletes.
That is awesome. She is Miss Amy Goodson with the Texas Beef Council, along with the Sports Nutrition Playbook, the Sports Nutrition Game Plan, all laid out for you. We hope that if you would like to, please contact them, get your student athlete prepped and ready to go. But Amy, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Yes,
we
thank you for having me.
Absolutely. There she goes, Miss Amy Goodson. So guys, seriously, a lot of incredible offerings there to take advantage of, whether you're a parent, whether you're an athlete. Get your body right and get on the field and ready to go.